So sometimes when I tell a story, I usually tell it straight to my girls. And so the way that I tell it is more informal. And so I'm going to kind of start this story just like that. So here it goes. This story is called The Littlest Girl. Once upon a time, there was a little girl, just like you, only smaller. Actually, she was the littlest girl in the whole world. She was only the size of a candle flame. She lived in the cup of a golden tulip with her father, and he loved her very much. One day, her father came to her with a small box. It was such a beautiful box, and she was awed by all of its beauty. And when she opened it, there was a beautiful little red seed sitting right inside. It was shiny and had delicate patterning all across its smooth surface, and she wanted to hold it in her hands and never let it go. "It's yours," he said, and she was so happy. She rushed to hug him. "Thank you," she said excitedly. I want you to plant it," he said. And disappointment kind of closed over her. All that excitement over getting the seed kind of drifted away. I will, she said back to him. And so off she went to find a spot to plant it. After wandering, she came to an overlook, and the sea was spread out below her. Windswept trees reached toward the horizon, and they dotted the edge of the land. And the littlest girl loved the wind in her hair and watching the long edge of the world. So she bent down to plant her seed in that place. But when she opened the little box, she stared at the seed. She sat and she held it. She did not plant it. As the sun began to color the sky, she realized how long she'd been out, and so she hid the box with the seed inside under a little shrub nearby, and she hurried home. "Did you find a place to plant the seed?" asked her father. "Oh, yes," she lied. "I'll need to go back tomorrow to water it." And she did. Every day she would go, but instead of planting and watering, she'd sit and admire the seed where the trees reached toward the long edge of the world. Until one morning she was running toward where she had hidden the box, and she tripped on a pine needle, and she fell into her box and knocked it over. The beautiful round seed rolled out over and off the edge of the land, down toward the sea. The littlest girl reached. The trees reached. But the one who caught the seed was the sea far below, and the sea swallowed it. The littlest girl returned to her golden tulip and saw her father waiting for her, as he always did. Her father noticed she was sad. She was unable to hide anything from him. Her body sank and felt heavy. For a long time, she had no words that she wanted to speak. She was afraid to tell her father about what happened and that she hadn't planted the seed, and now that it was lost. "Here, have a cup of dewdrop tea," said her father, setting down a small cup. "It's your favorite." The littlest girl in the world, no bigger than a candle flame, took the tea. "I didn't plant the seed. I wanted to keep it and have it for myself." Her father listened. "I lied about going to water it," and she lowered her head. Now it's lost forever, she finished. Her father reached out and touched her hand. It's only a seed, her father said sweetly, and pulled her near. And then, after a long moment, tell me, where have you been going? Oh, a beautiful place. I'll take you, replied the littlest girl, and so they went. After walking, they arrived at the place where the trees reached out over where the land ends toward the long edge of the world. They both sat and watched for a long time together. You're right, said her father. It is beautiful. And the sea that ate your seed spans the broad world. It connects the rivers, which thread the land. And the seed floats. So any bird, animal, or fish, they may find it, travel with it, and so it may end up at the bottom of the sea, or the top of the tallest mountain, or anywhere in between. And wherever you see a sprout, water it. It might be your seed. Wherever you see a beautiful blossom, admire it. It might be your flower. And wherever the fragrance of a tree washes over you, breathe it in. It might be your seed. No longer are you charged with only one seed. Now, all seeds are your seed. And her father smiled. Every day now, instead of coming to this place to water or admire a seed, the littlest girl in the whole world, no bigger than a candle flame, comes with her father. Sometimes they eat, sometimes they talk, sometimes they sit quietly and reach with their eyes toward the long edge of the world. Anyway, I hope you like that.